May profits be upon you. Welcome to another weekly market forecast. In this video, we're going to look at the S&P, the NASDAQ, the Dow, gold, silver, and oil. Okay, let's take a minute to think about what's just happened. What just happened in the markets last week? If we look at the headlines, Middle East tensions put investors on alert, weighing worst case scenarios. S&P, Nasdaq finished lower. These are the things that I talked about in the prior video from last week. And I said, hey, when the missiles start flying, people start to go to safe havens and they pull money out of riskier assets like the equities, right? And we saw that happen in the markets, but it didn't happen at the rate I thought it would. But I did have some targets. But before we get to the targets, let's talk about what we're looking at coming up in the news. All right, on the economic calendar on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we can see that there's going to be some good juice. All right, we have some red folders for the euro, US dollar on Monday, PMI, all of them. All right, flash manufacturing PMI. And then Tuesday, we have CPI for the Aussie dollar and the CAD. All right. And we got some good speakers coming up, some powerful speakers coming up for the Bank of England and the Fed chair. Then Fed chair testifies on Wednesday for the US dollar of USD. And everything every day we're going to have some good juice in the markets, to include Friday core PCI. This is the main indicator that the Fed looks at, the preferred indicator for inflation. So I definitely want to see how the markets respond to that on Friday. All right, good week of good trading ahead. Okay, we're looking at the S&P right now. What we can see is a market that's kind of on some grindy kind of stuff, right? I want a more brilliant color. All right, on some grindy movement, and I don't like grind. All right, because it's hard to trade that. All right, yeah, it was moving high up until last week, the prior week. All right, where I said we would be drawn to these descending highs here as a draw on liquidity for the buy side liquidity, and we reached that. Now, last week I also mentioned that this would be uh, my target for the last week. We did hit that target. Good for me. Good for you. And if you profited from the analysis, hey man, holler at me in the comment section. All right. But what happens is I thought the markets would be even more weaker, but we started to see some buoyancy. All right. Some resiliency. You would think that with the tensions flying and the potential of the U.S. involving itself in the Iran Israel situation, that there's a potential that Trump threw out there. Hey, I might have to throw some missiles out there or whatever too, some bunker busters and all. But received some backlash from within his party and all. So we'll see how that goes out. But what happens is the Iranian leadership signaled that they would be willing to negotiate some limitations on their uranium enrichment program. So that eases tension, and that would allow people to put money back into this market, and we can see the market start to climb in over here. Now, if we look at the 4 hour, what do we see? We already hit that target last week. All right, we swept that buy side liquidity, so we can take those off. Now, what do we have here? Is this low here, right? Could the markets find its way down to sweep this low, to sweep that low, and then move up? Yeah, that's possible. But I am definitely not looking to take shorts in this market as long as we see tension start to leave out of that very tense situation overseas. So I am more prone to wait for buy setups. Okay. And what would a good buy setup be for me? Right from here, if we start to see right from here, all right, I think this is going to be a natural area of demand because we have the sell before the stronger buy up, and we started to trade above that high up after a good sweep of buy side liquidity. I think that a pullback into this will find some footing and or support, and we'll probably be moving up. But I would wait until we get a break above these highs. This would say, hey, we're definitely on that track. All right, right now, this is the level to look at. If we break this low, I'm going to ignore any shorts. All right, I'm going to ignore any shorts because I'm looking for longs, and I'm going to keep my ear to the news. All right, and if things escalate, then I know we're going to continue down. All right, but if the easing continues, I'm looking for price to move up and take these uh, descending highs out as buy side liquidity so we can reach up here. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the daily, and I'm going to set this high as my buy side liquidity draw for next week. Okay, all right. On the NASDAQ, same deal. Okay, I already have the high set up here, but from last week. But I wanted to point out that we did hit the lows on Friday. We did hit the target that I had set last week. So that's always a good thing, right? The people who tune into my channel will have confidence knowing that, hey man, this guy knows what he's doing. I believe in what he's doing, and he, I'll continue to move to tune in. That's all I want. All right. Now I thought there may be a chance that it would come down here, but we reached the first target, and that's all I wanted. All right. You see the respect once we did that. I'm looking for some follow through, and you can see the potential for that follow through on the 4 hour because what do I look for? I look for fair value gaps, right? I look for a move down and then a stronger move up. That's where we came back into this natural area of demand. I'm looking for price to find support here before moving up. So that's what I'm looking at next week. If price continues down, I'm going to keep my ear to the news, and I'm going to say, we're already swept these lows. All right, are we going to sweep this low? If we sweep this low, what stops us from going down even further? All right, you see this big sell to buy wicks here. This looks like an area of demand to me all the way over, and it's fresh demand. So if we did come down here, I'd be waiting for price to hit that, so that hit that low, so that we can take a high probability trade to the upside, providing that the news is bullish. That tensions have eased, or there's a catalyst like a ceasefire of some kind. All right, but this is a demand zone. This is a volume imbalance. I mean, this is not a demand zone. This is a fair value gap that was already tapped into. We pushed higher. It did its job. All right, price returned to it. Will will this area of demand hold and send prices up? That's what I'm looking for, and that's my forecast for it. I am bullish until the news takes it down further, or just shows me different. Okay, with the YM, I had these lows as the target. I had this low as the target, and we hit them. We hit it for the on Friday. Took a while. Took the whole week, just like it did the prior week. If you remember, if you've been watching my videos, it took all week, but that was the weekly target, and we got it within the week. All right. I was hoping it would come down here. I was thinking it may come down here, but you see how it's been moving sideways? It's because it's been showing some resiliency, and the FOMC decision also kind of cooled uh, uh, the markets in a way. If you look at the headlines, you can see NASDAQ finished lower, uneasy about Middle East conflicts, equities mixed, closely watch middle thing. Investors are I don't know. The FOMC, the Fed said that they weren't going to. They kept the rates the same, and then you had tensions rising, and then those tensions stopped rising anyway, and there may be some clues as to things easing off. So I'm kind of thinking that investors will likely put their money back in from safe havens into riskier assets. If we go to gold, all right, let's go to the weekly so we can see something. All right, the prior week was very bullish, and I'm thinking because bullets are fine, because muscles are fine, that gold would continue to go higher because people are going to put their money in the safe havens. That just didn't happen. If you see this, oh my goodness. All right, if you look at the headlines, you can see uh, gold trades lower following Fed decisions to leave interest rates unchanged. All right, amidst inflation worries and tariffs. All right, the money didn't go into gold like I thought it would from the safe havens. Oh yeah, it went in the safe havens like the U.S. dollar and the and uh, and the yen, but gold not as much. If you go to the daily, you can see this was Monday's candle. It went straight down. All right. And then it kind of chopped to the left, kind of bearish neutral. All right. But what did we do? What I want you to notice is that after an impulsive move from the prior week, we had a retracement. There is potential that the market will find its footing here and continue higher. I am bullish in this market. Again, I am bullish in this market. I'm looking for buy setups. Okay. If price continues down and takes out this protected low, which broke this high, all right, that means it's a strong low. If it takes out that low, that means we're going to go down lower. We're probably going to be seeing this low and that low. I'm watching this low very carefully, but I think we're going to find support here. Okay, and that is at 3.384. 3.384. I'm looking for price to possibly continue higher from here. All right, if we take a look at the 4 hour, you can see we got ascending lows here as a draw on liquidity, but we had the more immediate descending highs here as a draw on liquidity. After, what do you call, generating all of this liquidity here, chopping down for hours and hours and hours. This is a 4 hour chart. All right. I think that over a couple of days since Monday, we took this impulsive move to the upside, and then this corrective move to the downside. All right, to the to inside of this bullish leg. You know how I trade. After a break of structure, we are bullish. I'm waiting for the retracement so that we can take a high probability trade to the upside. And do we have those things in place? Look at these impulsive candles here. All right, on the last couple of 4 hour candles here, right? Not these two. All right, it went sideways. We had a pause on Thursday because there was a bank holiday. All right, so what am I looking for? I'm looking for price to continue higher past this sell. I'm looking for this stronger buy up. I'm looking for this to become the CISD. All right, I'm looking for price to get past this, come back and test this for support so that prices can go higher and take out all of that buy side liquidity, because I think that's going to be a strong draw for this market. I think we are heading towards that high, but what has to happen is a catalyst of some sort. The tensions in the Middle East, a decision by Trump whether to say, "Hey, we're not going to involve ourselves." He's going to listen to his base, which is saying let's not get involved in another long war, a never-ending war or whatever. And we got to see how the fundamentals match up with this structure. All right, right now the structure is bullish to me. All right, yeah, we've been grinding down, but that's inside of a bullish leg. All right, so I'm looking for a higher high, higher low, higher high. I'm looking for this if it's going to be the higher low. If it breaks that, then I know it's not. All right. If it holds and we see a impulsive move to the upside, then I would love to take longs in gold. If we go to silver, silver's moving pretty much the same. You saw this move on Tuesday. This is not something that gold did. Gold was bearish since Monday, right? Since Monday, it just started shooting down. But people were there was talk in the financial circles that this was a great alternative to the safe haven of gold. People put their money in silver, but this move here, impulsive move, impulsive buy up, taking liquidity, and then you had this move down. All right, closing a powerful close past that low. I'm not looking for prices to go higher first. I'm looking for prices to continue lower first. All right. I would like to see, you see this dotted line here. This is a weekly fair value gap. I'm looking for penetration into that weekly fair value gap before the market starts to go higher. Okay. You see how price has this expansion to the downside after this move here. All right. The expansion that leaves room for a bearish fair value gap. All right. If price gives us a candle like so, where we have a wick up, that would give us this bearish fair value gap. Price could use that to even reach lower down to these levels. And I'm suspecting that may happen. All right. So am I bullish in this market overall? Yes, I am. Because it's obvious that we're making highs, a higher low, and then we broke that high. So yeah, I'm more bullish than bearish for sure. But you can see how the market is moving, right? We swept those liquidity there, and then we started making our way up to break structure to the upside. I am more bullish, all right? But there is a pullback that I'm thinking of, and we could pull back to the 50% of this impulsive move. So I'm looking to see how price acts once it takes out this low. So I'm looking for short-term bearishness and longer term for setting up for a longer term bullish run. All right. But short-term bearishness is what I'm looking for in silver. Now, if we go to oil as quickly as possible, this is my last one. If we go to oil, look at how the week end. All right, this is the week prior. All right, very bullish, and then we have this wick of respect. What do? We saw the pullback. We saw the pullback in the wicks down, and then back up. What did I say? I said oil is going to go up. We got tensions in the Middle East. Of course, oil is going to go up, and that's exactly what it did. It went down. If we saw the follow through down, and then we saw the bullish move up. That's how the week ended, closing very bullishly, right? Did we reach my goal up here, my high? No, we didn't, but we were reaching for it. That's important. Now look, this was Monday's candle, all right, starting the pullback, and we chopped to the left, chopped to the right, all right. But I'm looking for more bullishness to come, all right, as tensions are still there, but maybe if we see the easing. Maybe if we see the easing continue, we might see a pullback of this impulsive move back to the 50%, back to equilibrium. I'm looking for that. We'll see. We have some sell side liquidity to come and get. So, it could be a very interesting opening for the week. All right. But we're moving sideways right now. Are we going to come up and get that? Yeah, with some news help from fundamentals if the tensions ratchet up even more. But I'm looking to see if we're going to see that continuation of ease, and maybe we might see a move to the downside.